Hi, Simon. My name is Emma. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so very much for your time. I have my nautical shirt on, so I'm ready
Very
to
good.
talk about this film.
It's very northern France.
Yes,
Yeah. You should
yes,
be eating some,
exactly.
you should be eating some oysters.
I would like that. Maybe not so early in the morning, but we'll figure it out.
Oysters for breakfast, please.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very excited to speak with you about this film. Of course, you had the novel as a huge inspiration for this story. I would say the best inspiration, but I would also love to know a little bit about maybe some other films that you looked toward for either visual inspirations or just kind of setting the scene and the tone for the film.
Yeah, I can give you an exhaustive list, an
Great.
exhausting list even, yeah, because you're just kind of we could be here forever. But I mean the proto film that I think Ruth must have been inspired by when she wrote the book. I still haven't asked her this question. Is The Lady Vanishes? Uh, the first of a long line of, although I think 39 Steps, I can't remember which one came first, but he got into quite early that idea of the single person, very ordinary, uh, kind of average Joe lead character, um,
Mhm.
uh, and or average Joanne, in our case, and in Lady Vanish's case, of someone who's just in a situation and they they slowly realize that reality is not what they thought it was, and they're the only person who can figure out the answer to the conspiracy. I mean, Hitchcock continued doing that film for
Mhm.
the rest of his career. So
Mhm.
you've got Vertigo, you got Rear Window, you got The Man Who Knew Too Much, you got
Mhm.
North by Northwest. Like it's a recurring theme in Hitchcock's work, and I think that then inspired. There was a brief gap, and then it inspired a whole heap of 70s
Mhm.
thrillers. And I think those were triggered, of course, by Watergate, the conspiracy.
Mhm.
All the President's Men is, of course, literally about Watergate, but you've got The Conversation, you've got Parallax View, you've got 3 Days of the Condor, you've got Marathon Man, you've got Klute, you've got this endless series of 70s films that are about the man in that era discovering himself, just a very ordinary person just going, hang on a second, there is something deeply off about what's going on here, and I cannot help myself but pursue finding out what's actually at the bottom of this.
And what's perfect is it's a journalist whose literal job is to pursue and go after what is the truth here.
Yeah. So of all those films, the only one was The Lady Vanishes, which has the
Hmm.
most parallel plot, uh, uh, which had a woman in the lead. Um,
Hmm.
so it kind of really excited me when Ruth wrote this kind of inherently feminist rewriting of that genre. Because if there's a conspiracy, so I always find it incredibly ironic when men say this is a witch hunt. I'm like, you're literally quoting a moment in history where women were the sole targets of of a persecution, and that's the word. You haven't said wizard hunt. You've said witch, and and the reason it's called a witch hunt, the reason that is the word, the adjective we have for it, the noun we have for it, is because it is synonymous with everyone decide at whole society, in this case, the patriarchy, a very repressive patriarchy that's afraid of women's autonomy and independence and their sexuality, deciding that they must be
Control
connected.
it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it must be connected to the supernatural because that's the only possible option as to why they might be that powerful. We have to
Obviously.
kill them. Uh, and we've come up with an ingenious way of killing them, which is either we burn them at the stake or we drown them, and then we'll prove that she wasn't a witch because she drowned. She chose to drown. Her
Whoops.
integrity. Yeah. So, so I think that what's fun about this is it restores the witch hunt
Hmm.
to the right gender, which is
Hmm.
the conspiracy is generally uh, directed in the contemporary world, directed towards the weaker uh,
Right.
parts of society. And despite the fact that women are in the majority, they find themselves politically, strategically in a weaker position, and that is taken advantage of over and over and over again. And then you have this person who goes, "No, I'm not going to. That's not going to happen." And the deeper she digs, the deeper she realizes the conspiracy of the uh, kind of deeply misogynistic instincts uh, brought that she brings into the light, and the effects of those, and the kind of almost kind of Freudian epic nature of what the villain has achieved. Uh, and that, watching her unravel that and just develop the determination to do something about it and to
Hmm.
enlist two other women by the end uh,
Hmm.
in the bring down, the takedown. It's, I think, like I'm sounding like an academic analyzing my own film, but like I think that that's the essay that I'd be writing if
No,
I saw it. Uh,
everything that you have listed off, I am thinking about very specific scenes in the film. I'm thinking, I mean, one of the questions that I had, and as you were discussing this, was just, I've always associated Keira as just a very strong persona on screen. Whatever character she may be playing, I trust her with my life. There's
yeah,
nobody else she's never going to put me in harm's way. And so I have to know and have to ask, working with Keira, was that just always the natural, this is the person who is going to play this, and we can believe everything that she is going through?
I think she's incredibly convincing. I have to say, I've never seen her be this intuitively um, kind of like she's so determined in this movie.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not like I think you see her getting to various degrees of bluffing. Like
Hmm.
part of the kind of gag with Kira historically in her roles was, I'm terrified, but I'm going to put on a show.
Yes.
And that is was always the kind of dichotomy that we loved about Kira as,
Hmm.
oh, she taught us that we could, when I say us, I'm not a woman, but she taught women that or people who are scared of social scenarios, that you could, all of those feelings that you have behind closed doors, you can have them and still walk out and try and give it a go, even if you make a
Yeah.
fool of yourself, of
Yeah.
having the confidence of your convictions. I would say in this, she's even more rock and roll than that, in that she's so connected to her rage, her indignation, that and her conviction that it's like deeply charismatic to watch because you go,
Hmm.
wow, there is nothing, you're not worried about how people see you. You are
Hmm.
briefly the beginning of the film, but once they turn on you, you're like, okay, well, that's done. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
The wrong,
Let's
wear the
just
wrong
go
dress
for
to
it.
meet. Let's just go for it. And that I think is new for her. Of like, you know what? From now on, don't give a shit what you think. Uh,
Right.
and and that's really a wonderful thing to see evolve in her work.
Yes. With the remaining time that I have left, I just wanted to touch base on creating this very suffocating atmosphere. You already have it based on it being a ship, and there's so little, you cannot escape wherever you are in this ship. But there's also such great editing at play, the production design. I think so many of these elements create such tension on the film. I'd love to know a little bit about, I guess, your work in all of those fields. How much input do you get to have, and was any one important to you to really nail in order to present us with such a scary, tense atmosphere all
Yeah,
throughout the film?
yeah. I mean, I insisted on having a lot of reflective surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
That corridor that is behind you on the
Yes.
screen
Yes.
was going to be not reflective because everyone was worried about camera reflections and reflections of
Oh.
equipment. I was like, don't worry, I'll always shoot it on a slight angle. But what I need, it's a film about, and there's a spoiler inherent in this, but it is a film about the horror of there being a doppelganger. And
Mm-hmm.
the horror of that, the fact that portends doom, it portends death. And so the idea that seeing yourself endlessly reflected is almost a kind of premonition of death, um, was really important to me. But of course it brought the challenges of like, how do we not see all the crew in here?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was we used uh, a lot of wide angle lenses,
Mm-hmm.
which once again creates problems for seeing crew and lights and stuff like that. But what I love about a wide angle lens when you get it close to an actor is that you get a close up, but you also get the entire environment
Mm-hmm.
around that person. And if you're stuck out at sea, you've got a face which is in close up. And because we're in anamorphic, practically anamorphic, you've got the same size of that head, maybe three or four times either side of that, which is just all environment, which is what increases the claustrophobia because it's like, I'm here and I'm stuck in
Yeah.
this environment. And if it's at sea, it's just I am on my own and there's just the sea. Like there's a moment in the film where I don't even shoot her feet, where she is literally, it's just her and sea.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks completely stuck at the back of the boat, like she's like floating in the sea on her own. And and that those lenses help you do that you kind of are both getting close to the actor, but you're also showing a lot of the environment that's crushing them at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that there's all sorts of technical tricks, there's all sorts of ways that
Yes.
you can use, images to in, the average person is not analyzing the semantics of an image, but uh, they are feeling what it feels like to
Mm-hmm.
be in that image. And the
Mm-hmm.
isolation that she feels is made incredibly, uh, like, kind of visceral when you kind of design and shoot in a way that made her always look like she was trapped.
Yeah. Yes. I have to wrap, but I just wanted to say thank you for making me hate ships more so than I already do.
Right.
And it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you,
Right.
Simon.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.